I'm really sick. All right, I've got 6 o'clock, so we will go ahead and get started. Begin with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll start with roll call. Nate. Here. Ken. Here. Guy. Here. Brent. We note that Brent is absent. Can you call in?
No.
Okay. So he did send us an email letting us know. But with 4, we will call for him. We do not have public comment tonight, and so we will begin with Ella and the student council update. Welcome to the new school year.
Yeah.
Sam brought you right away last year?
Yeah, I did hear about that. Don't worry, I got you.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm Ella, I'm the city council president, and, so far this year, we've just been focusing on homecoming, obviously, that's coming up next week. We've got our events scheduled, we've been doing football concessions, we did split up Otter Pup 2 days this year, and then, which is different, and then class competition Friday again. We do have float building on this Sunday, 1 till 4, and then the other change we did this year was we have Macho Man, which is after the parade instead of during school week, just so then more parents, more communities to get involved.
Where's the homecoming event this year?
It's that big, which is hours for 5 center high school. I don't know.
How long ago was that?
4 years ago. Find that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and we look forward to hearing from you more this year.
I'll bring sweets next time. Don't worry.
Oh.
Bring enough for everyone. For everyone, okay.
She was looking at the school board.
That's why I interjected myself to remind her, who sees her almost every day.
Extra mom.
Ellie just said, as long as you want to leave whenever you want. Don't feel like that's space.
Yeah, they do. Okay, okay.
It's an open door. Whatever you want, unless you get hurt. All right, celebrate Fall River. What do we have today?
So our Celebrate Fall River, we wanted to talk with you and share with you some information about a new club, HOSA, that Ella's a part of, and is going to talk about help.
Now, Ella will most likely be an officer of the state. HOSA stands for Health Occupation Students of America. It is very common in most other schools. However, to my knowledge, have never had a HOSA program. So with the help of Dr. Treptow, she's gently shelved me into starting one. I was blown away. Today was our first meeting. We had 21 kids sign up. So those are 21 kids that are interested in health science, which I think really speaks volumes to kind of where we are going. We've seen this in recent graduations, how many kids are going into the health science profession. So I think this is a great organization. HOSA really works on leadership and community building. So trying to educate students in high school on how to provide quality healthcare for everybody as they get older and go into these health careers. So I think it's really cool organization. The kids got pretty excited today. We're talking about some service projects that we're going to work on and towards the end of the year. We're going to have a social media presence, just try to help encourage. We're going to use it for encouraging healthy lifestyles and wellness, things like that. We are fundraising currently, so if anybody likes nothing but cakes, please reach out to a HOSA member or myself. We are selling them for $6 for the little fun. Come to me. Exactly. Anything else?
They did receive $1,000 grant that Jessica applied for to get the organization or the club started up.
We're gonna use that funding this year so no kids have to pay dues or memberships. We'll be able to start it. Otherwise, usually the first year you have to have kids pay to buy into it. So that grant will go so that the kids don't have to pay any dues. And then we'll do fundraising throughout the year and then, next year continuously so that they can go to organizations and do competitions. They'll be able to, like I said, service project that they'll work on all year. So it'll kind of be, hopefully build up to the point where eventually my goal would be that we could offer, anybody who's been a Folsom member for all 4 years of scholarship at the end of the year. So obviously we have a ways to get there, but that's kind of my long-term goal. Keep encouraging these kids to participate in high school, but then also keep on.
What are, you want to share just the health sciences courses that you are currently offering? at the high school?
Yeah, currently I teach health career exploration in the spring or in the fall, and then med term dual credit and math college in the spring. My health careers class has about between 15 and 20 kids every year. And we really stress not just health careers, but kids that don't know what they want to do, like some other kids that we know here. They're not exactly sure what they want to do, but they know they want to do something after high school. And so it kind of helps them narrow it down. We have kids that have zero interest in going to health careers by the end of taking this class. They've thought of something, working at maintenance in the hospital or something they just hadn't considered before in the health career. With this year, we've changed it up a lot. They're working on portfolios and really career preparation. So they're going to apply to a job, a job that I'm hiring for, but they're going to apply for a job. They're going to perform mock interviews. So in order to pass the class, they're going to have to do all those career readiness things, as well as then the health career portion. So it's not just for kids in healthcare. All of our speakers and like my talks are geared for that, but they're still getting something out of it if they're not sure they're going to go on to school.
And you've been using the Inspire Wisconsin as
I've
a
used
resource.
Inspire Wisconsin a lot to help plan kids' job shadows, which is also part of their requirements to pass the class. They're gonna do, so the kids that want to go into health careers, that think maybe they don't do health careers, we do a mock interview with very rich human resources. The kids that aren't sure that they want to do health careers, or for sure no, they don't want to do health careers, we'll do it with Inspire Wisconsin. So they'll all do a mock interview, but it'll be kind of differentiated.
And then outside of those two, we do also have, I think, 5 or 6, I didn't count them up, DCA classes that students who want to continue to learn more about the health careers opportunities. There's sports medicine class, health sciences, intro to biotech, CNA prep, pharmacy tech certification. So kids can go and take those classes through Destinations Career Academy and go even further. So we offer the dual credit here in-house with Jessica, but then if they want to keep going, they can take those classes through that other online option.
And Amy and I are working currently to try to get so that kids can do dual credit CNA class. Because right now they're taking the CNA class on their own, usually with an organization. So we're really working to try to get that either dual credit or to offer more start college now classes. So it's going to take a little finagling with how we have our schedule currently. And it might not be for a year or two, but we really have some savings to get kids so that they can do more college classes as a senior, but take them here. So they're not just necessarily graduating early. They're still here, our students, but giving them more opportunities.
Thank you.
And
You can go now.
she volunteered to be the advisor for this club this year because we had no idea how many kids would want to do it. And if it's sustainable, then we'd probably come next year to say, let's add this as an advisor, because we're probably looking at advisor and coaching pay for next school year. And if this continues and is sustainable, say, okay, that's not just a one-year thing, we'll bring that as a potential new paid position.
Even though you didn't bring your taco. There, I said, even though you didn't bring your taco.
Thank you. Anything else? You need to say? So provided in the packet today will be minutes for the August 21st, school board meeting. Do you have any questions? If not, I will take a motion to approve the minutes. Motion to approve the minutes. We have a motion by Ken. Do I have a second? I'll second. Seconded by Guy. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All those. Awesome. We'll take a treasurer.
So one of the things I'll mention is that the very bottom of totals and expenditures last year, this time was 9%. This year, 9%. We're probably about the same track we were last year. There is one typo in the 23-24 fiscal year to date. 27 revenue is not 6,000%. It looks like a number got copied from the previous column to the next column. So I got to check my formula next month so I don't do that again. The other thing I mentioned is when we come to the October board meeting, and I said this I think at the first open session, for the community to come hear about the referendum, then before budget. So next month, we're gonna approve the budget for this coming year, and we will implement whatever budget is the accurate one based on what the referendum's passed. So you'll be asked to approve a budget that both questions are no. You'll be approve a budget where both questions are yes. You'll be asked to approve a third budget where the question one is yes, question two is no. And you'll be approve a budget where question one is no, question two is yes. So there'll be 4 different budgets. So when you get your packet next time, we'll try to have to distinguish which one's which, but we'll have to put those numbers in so that you can approve all of them. And whatever the referendum says, we implement that budget.
What's the date for next month's board meeting? You have that?
The 23rd.
23rd?
Yeah, it's the 4th Wednesday, not the 3rd this time. The 3rd, I'll during my report later, I'll talk what I'm doing on the third Wednesday. On the phone for anything.
And then when does the 23-24,
They probably will get to us about November.
say this wrong, when is the third Tuesday?
The third Friday count
Third
is
Friday.
this Friday.
And then is that available right away or?
I think Sue, will have it in about a week. And we are being very careful with that. Once she knows what those numbers are, then we have to count our summer school kids too. And if we count this well, not this school year, but the next school year, we'll qualify for sparsity aid. Derek Johns would always ask about sparsity aid. We finally are gonna maybe qualify for it. But we can only count a certain percent of our summer school kids to qualify for this. And it's worth $200,000 a year. So it's important for us to be careful about the counting, make sure we get this right.
So the budget that you'll submit for the next meeting will be inclusive of that?
Yes, because there's 3 main things that'll come up. The third Friday count will come out. And then the state aid will come out. And then the revenue limit sheet will come out and property values. The equalized value, and those all come out between October 1st and October 15th. So by October 15th, I should have all the data to put those budgets together a week later for you to look at.
I'll have to be in October, that board meeting, the 23rd, I'll have to be mobile.
Okay,
So I'll make sure that I have my computer and stuff. So that's what you want to stay with, correct?
yes, yes, that's
I
good.
will be-
Okay. Actually, report will be-
Any other questions? All right, well, I will take a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
We have a motion by Nate, seconded by Ken. All those in favor, vote aye. Aye. All those opposed. All right, next, we, have kind of our standard packet with payroll and vouchers. So having reviewed, I will make a motion to approve payroll, for 9:30 through 10:15 and vouchers 426-612 through 426-701 and 2024-00049 through 2024-00089 in the amount of $894,651.94. Do I have a? Okay. Yeah. I will amend that motion to say $394,651.94.
I will second that.
We have a motion by Jeff, seconded by Nate. All those in favor, vote aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, we will move on to gifts and donations.
So we had a throwing circle for track donated by the Fall River Booster Club and then some monetary donations provided by the dump. Greg, did you want to talk about where those came from and?
Sure, the dump made a donation of $350 to the band for us playing at the dump, in August. And then they called me like a week later and asked if we had a couple of students that would like to volunteer at their annual fundraiser. They do something called the Dump Run, and it's near the end of August every year. It's the biggest one-day fundraiser in Columbia County. Yeah, yeah. I don't. I don't know. Anyway, so it was a simple job. They just needed a couple kids to basically direct people where to go during the event because they have a back gate. That's where the bands enter from, and a lot of people park back there. So we had to direct people to walk around front and buy a wristband at the front of the door, and that's all we had to do. Kids got to eat for free, and I had a couple of kids who stayed for 8 hours, and we got to listen to a bunch of live bands as well. So we got a $500 donation for that.
You explained that way better than I would have.
And then I will just add, we got a nice thank you note from the FFA, Skills USA, and robotics team, just kind of thanking the board for the activities we're doing for kind of CTE and the focus. So just kind of a nice little thing to do what we're doing, offering, so let us know if there's anything that they can do to support us. So, if there's a market, all right, we will then move on to policy. We have a report.
Yeah, we met tonight, one of our quite a few minor things, that we did discuss, absentee, being able to not get online and focus on if you're in a secure location. And doing that. Talked about food services, bus transportation. A lot of just simple word changes, basically.
And you have the packets on your table. So I think there's 22 revised and 1 new policy and then 1 is rescinded. It's not a huge packet.
We just considered first review and then.
Next month will be first review. Tonight was just the committee looking at it.
Okay.
That way you have a time to look through it before you may have some questions during the first reading next month.
Any questions?
Yeah.
All right, that, thank you for that update. We will then move on to new business, and discussion of possible action on the cross-country co-op.
You have in your packet the information to continue our co-op with Rio for cross-country. Our overall numbers have been continually steady at around 6, for the past several years. I don't see any reason not to continue our co-op. It has been a point of pride, I would say, especially with all the work that the kids put into preparing for their meets and running. So I urge you to prove it.
Is this co-op specific to high school or does it cover middle school?
Middle school too.
It does.
The numbers just seem low.
I think these numbers
These are
here
the
are high school numbers.
Yeah.
Because the middle school numbers, there's probably 7 girls and 5 boys in middle school, right?
This just boys though. What's in the middle, right? I don't know.
This
It
is,
does
So-
say boys.
But it's both?
It
Right.
is both. Abby gave me 3 sheets to sign tonight. One was boys cross country, one was girls cross country, and then the football co-op.
Does she? did she
So they do
in
have
her-
to be signed for separately.
Okay, yeah, because the numbers she gave me were just for the boys.
But out of 4 and 2, is that just boys? Or is
That's
that
just boys. That's what she gave.
yeah, that's
What are
just boys.
What are the girls? That's good.
You have those numbers?
I don't think she provided those numbers.
Yeah, I don't.
The girls' numbers, right now, there's 3 varsity girls.
Boys, what is it called?
Well, yeah, they're all Fall River. There's no Rio varsity girls. There's a whole bunch of Rio middle school girls. But the 3 are all Fall River. One's a senior, sophomore and freshman.
What's the, and maybe you guys don't know, what is the number for middle school cross country? I feel like it's a lot bigger than 6.
Yeah,
There's quite a few.
that's like saying there's like 7 girls and 5 boys in middle school right now running. There's a dozen of them.
Double.
Yeah.
Oh, just for, is that just? for-
That, no, that's combined. Yeah, that's combined.
If there's more than one.
Yeah, there's, at least compared to the high school, there's a lot more.
All right, any further discussion about the, cross-country co-op? All right, well, with that, I will take a motion. Move the co-op supply. That is for boys. So, no, do we need 3 motions or?
I think just one motion for cross-country in general.
I'll take a motion for combined boys and girls cross-country co-op.
I'll make a motion to, approve the cross-country building.
Motion by Guy, do I have a second? Seconded by Ken, any further discussion? All those in favor, vote aye. Aye. All those opposed? Vote passed. We will move on then to the co-op with our football.
Football is the same. Our numbers have been pretty steady across. We do have more students that are on the team than Rio. But in our conversations that we have been having over the last couple of weeks, it makes sense to stick with the co-op. To be able to stick with the 11 player versus going down to an 8 player. And again, that's, you have something more to add. I think it's a good thing that we've got going and we'd like to keep it up.
Without these numbers, we couldn't have a JV team. And then freshman boys who are really little would be beaten up on Friday nights against seniors, so. It's enough kids to have JV and varsity both, which I think is important.
How do numbers, excuse me, how do numbers look in elementary school? I mean, as far as not elementary, the middle school, do the numbers look to be growing in football, staying the same for Rio and Fall River? No, it seems like there's even swings, more Rio kids, more Fall River kids. But
Yeah, go ahead.
I think our middle school program, I don't think, I know it's smaller than it was last year. We had a very, very large freshman class, come in for the eighth graders from last season. I would estimate we have probably about 24 boys playing football at middle school, so. Between schools, I don't know the breakdown.
There's 30.
At the middle school.
It's 30.
There's 30, and the current 8th grade class is incredibly small.
Yeah.
So, big freshman class, very small 8th grade class, so kind of deceiving. But I think the 7th grade class. But the 7th grade is probably a dozen boys, 6th grade is probably a half dozen, just for Fall River. Yeah.
Kenny, you think it's evenly split between Fall River and Rio, or is it
I
more?
think Fall River's a little heavy, but not by a lot. Or maybe like 18 to 12, something like that.
And then I guess, and it doesn't need to be written, but obviously Ryle has the field issues.
Yeah, in the
That's our
actual,
meetings over the last couple
yeah,
weeks.
in the actual contract, this is just the WI thing, but we actually have a contract where they can have one home game a year, and we spent a couple times over there, and I talked to Josh on Sunday, I think it was too, about this. Rio has the right to host a football game. The only reason we could say no is if for player safety. So Jennifer and I and Abby went over to look at their field, Fireman's Park. And their superintendent, athletic director, high school principal all agreed, this is not a safe playing surface for kids. Gopher holes, rocks on the field that you'd fall into, large areas that there's no grass at all. They agreed that that wasn't a safe place to play. They tried to resurface it to reduce some things, but it was done in a way that it wasn't successful. So then they came and said, well, we could play on the track. You know where the track is, the inside there where kids use it for flag football, every other Saturday. And we walked that field and there was grass everywhere. Wasn't perfectly level, but at least I could say, yeah, you could play on that and not feel like it was a danger to kids. So we said, well, that's not a safety issue to play there, but there's a lot of infrastructure that they were really asking to give her permission to investigate to see if we could play there. And they realized that there's no lights, no scoreboard, no press box, a lot of issues that they would have to overcome. And we said, go ahead, try. And they, a few days later, emailed, said, no, it's not going to work. It's just too many hurdles to jump through. I think Ryle School Board had a meeting Monday. I don't know, Jeff, did you still attend?
I would, yeah.
Did they talk about this at all?
We're not talking about the homecoming agreement or the homecoming game.
Okay, I think they have to decide if they're gonna invest some money on one of those two fields to make it a playable surface in the future. And it would cost some money, you know, it would cost to put a press box and lights and scoreboard, and they'd have to make a significant investment if they hope to have a home game in the future.
We have a game that we gave for concessions or anything like that?
I think there might be, that homecoming game that's gonna be played here.
Yeah.
They might be doing the concessions that night.
They will be. I received an email on that today.
Yeah.
And then, so this is implied one home game, what about practices? If they do have a quality field, the practices. still-
I don't remember that being in the agreement.
I thought it could be has the potential to be split, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I remember Abby and I were briefly talking about the rest of the pieces that were in it. I don't.
I don't think that was part of the agreement, but I have to look at that. That's different than what this is. This is simply for the WIA.
I don't believe there's language in the co-op agreement
Okay,
today,
okay.
other than there was a game for safety to play there. We've had a verbal discussion that it was playing football games in Iowa, we would practically have no discussions on alternating. I've talked to many co-ops across the state, how they do things. Our vision for it would just be that one week football in Rio, which I'm supportive of, barring we get a field that we can play on state.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very supportive of the practice the week before. I'd hate to see us go to every other week practice in Ryle and then all games football in Fall River. Like,
Yeah.
that just doesn't seem the spirit of the event.
That doesn't seem to be what we're looking at. We should look at the
I think I was
contract.
thinking of the softball agreement.
We should look at the football agreement and see if there's anything in there. As far as the intention of a co-op, we're supportive of, but not giving up more.
Exactly. The
But-
one game and the practices
Yeah,
leading up to.
And that
game.
makes sense if they can get a field that's appropriate and equipped.
And I love that we're giving them the concession stand. I think that's important.
Yeah. It helps having 5 home games this year.
Yeah.
Out of 9. It's like the Brazil game for the Packers.
All right, any further discussion or questions about co-op with Mahindra?
Yes.
All right, with that, I will take a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve the football co-op with Ryle for 3 years,
2.
for 2 years, sorry.
All right, we have a motion by Nate for a 2-year extension of the Ryan Clark football. We have a second.
I'll second it, but, before I do that, do we want to put in there that, with the agreement that they can have one home football game and practice the week before the game?
That's it.
That's more to do.
As long as they have a.
Yeah.
separate field.
We have to look.
I think I said that too.
Yeah,
We have to look that
I'll
up.
double check it, but I feel like,
The game certainly is in it,
yeah.
the practice, I don't believe is in it.
But I mean, we could give that practice.
Correct. We would want to,
I don't have a problem with that,
be a
but
competitive disadvantage for us.
I think with the
practice on grass.
I don't want to give up just every other week.
So I can do one this year, tonight.
Yeah, Nate, you want to amend your motion?
I'll amend the motion, to approve the co-op with Ryo, the one game and then the practice for the week before said, game,
If they can have a safe field to play on.
if they have a safe field to play.
I'll second it.
All right, you have a motion by Nate, seconded by Guy, extending the co-op with Ryle for 2 years, providing Ryle home field for 1 week with that 1 week of practice leading up to it. Motion by Nate, seconded by Ben. All those in favor, vote aye. Aye. All those opposed. Thank you both.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, we will move on to the FFA National Convention and Expo.
Mr. Sizer, you want me to do it or you want to?
No, I got it. So I sent out, I think you guys have the agenda. It's a little bit fluid yet because there's just a lot that goes on. For instance, before I came here tonight, we were trying to purchase tickets. even how great Ticketmaster is. Apparently it locked itself out. And so they have to move the date of those sales. So, this is a very close, agenda to what we will be doing. We travel with 3 other schools, Partyville, Randolph, Cambria, Friesland, and then, Stratford was added with us this year. We take anywhere between 8 to 14 kids, depending on how many we have signed up. We just had our first meeting today. So I'm getting those numbers back. So far, I got about 7 or 8 kids that said that they want to go. They need to be in good standing with the school. And we are down there touring. We do fake tours, so we do some animal science stuff. We're doing a exotic feline, tour this year. We usually do something like try to do something with plants, which that one we're still trying to set up yet. And then, they do the work expo, the career expo, and then every year they have, keynote speaker. That just kind of gets them going and gets them motivated for their leadership opportunities that they can have in the field. So, if you have any other questions, we did it last year, a lot of positive things from the kids. It's nice to travel with other groups. I've gone before where we have not done that. With another school, and it's a lot of work, so I'm hoping you guys can improve back and go with other schools. There's a small chance that in the future, maybe we don't have, if you ever have a top ranked team, you are on a completely different schedule with everybody, but. See,
So just given you've got concerts and rodeos and all kinds of fun stuff, you're comfortable that you can maintain kind of, chaperone control, everything like that?
yeah, so what's nice too is we go, like, to go on the other schools, so Partyville, they have 2 aides, or they have 2 student teachers this semester who are gonna be able to help chaperone the kids. My wife is the advisor in Partyville, so it's nice to have a female chaperone also with, especially because we predominantly take females sometimes, it seems like. So it works out pretty well with the bus that way. Our hope is that some years that we might ask Mr. Christian to go with, this was the stuff with the referendum this year, and we think that is important that one of us stays back. We are gone during parent teacher conferences this year. And me and him have talked, and we talked to Mr. Costello that it'd be nice if one of us this year should probably stay back. And he's never done a trip before, so.
Be associated with this per kid?
Yep, so we won't have our final numbers till we know, like I said, the concert got pushed back, so I don't know the exact number, usually it's about $400 to $450 per student. We had the opportunity to raise that through our food sale. We have some business sponsors that helped sponsor it in the past. And then we also have our CC supporter group that, felt like they're gonna donate some money to that trip also.
So self-funded.
Yep, so, yeah, there's no cost to the district at all, except for the transportation, this gets the party going back for the morning of the bus. And a sub for me, I guess.
Administration is supported.
Absolutely.
Any further question or discussion? All right, I will then take a motion to approve the FFA National Convention Expo trip. A motion for to accept the FFA National Convention Expo trip coming up October 23rd. We have a motion by Ken, do I have a second? Oh, second. Second by God. Any further discussion? All those in favor, vote aye. Aye. All those opposed. All right, now we will move on to PI 26 CTE plan. Sounds like fun.
I asked Amy to join us for this because she is our, guru. She's helped to create almost I'm pretty sure the entire website that we are going to be showing and sharing you. And she knows the inside, outside, backwards, frontwards of all of this fun stuff.
So PI 26 is the law that, is behind education for employment, which we, over the last, since I've been here, have had to have a plan on file every 5 years that talks about what we're doing in education for employment. They married then, the academic and career planning piece that's also legislated. It's all through PI 26 now, so the legislation is in the website. I can show you that. The handout that I just gave you really is like the purpose of it, what it must include, and if you flip to like the 3rd page, the verbiage,
basically, all it's saying is that PI 26 really is education for employment and academic and career planning. So they're kind of universal now. It's all together as one thing. I'm just gonna show you around the website. So it used to be a plan we put on the shelf, and it was in a binder and it sat there. And it wasn't really living and breathing, and nobody else could see it unless you came and asked to see the education for employment plan. Back in 2017 and 18 is when we started, we had a choice. You can put a plan on the shelf again, or schools then were going to putting it on their websites. So at that time, we decided to put it on the website, and then it was a 5-year rotation. Well, now they're saying the legislation has changed to say every year the board must approve the PI 26 piece. So that's where we had workshops this summer. They told us what all the components and pieces and parts that we had to include. So all we did this summer, John Crombie came with me, all we did was sat down and looked at what I had done back in 17, 18 and updated where we currently are now, set some goals. And so that's on there also. So I'll kind of walk you through all that. And then over this next year, then we'll be working on what we can get accomplished for our goals, and then we'll redo it and bring it back to you and say, this is what we've accomplished, we want to get, obviously, over the course of this next year, more stakeholders involved as far as the parent involvement in what is happening with ACP planning and education for employment. And it would be the CTE instructors as well, because they have a big piece in this, obviously, also. So in the website, I'm going to use my mouse because I'm not old person. And I use this regularly in my AC planning classes with the 8th grade and the 11th grade. So this is the actual plan itself, but there are also student and parent resources that play a role into this piece as well. So I'll show you this. I'll come back to this later, but this is basically the Education for Employment District Plan. And you can see here on the last page are at a glance kind of the components that need to be included in the plan. So I gave you some things that otherwise it gets really into the language and all this stuff. So this is the DPI requirements. So it shall be a long-range plan approved by the school board and developed by a team of school district staff and community stakeholders, which may include business, post-secondary education, institution, and workforce development organization. So, and the reason that I did the handout is because this is what the legislation looks like. So, I was trying to find things in it. It's not fun to read. So then there's the DPI resources. What is ACP? What are the legal requirements on all of that? And I'll get to Zello in just a minute. That's what we use in class for academic and career planning. Then we have to provide, and one of the things in here is to provide market data on jobs and workforce development and all of that. So I have started at the level of US data, gone down to US labor statistics, then Wisconsin labor market, and then this is the Madison area. Then we go down to Columbia County, and then there's also the South Central 10 hot jobs linked to those. So we're to be providing parents, community, students with accurate and up-to-date market analysis. So that's what those pieces are. The next piece is where we are with career and technical education. And so that links to a page that's separate, and that's also linked through that student and parent resource in what I use for the piece that I use for class. Eventually, these will be links to CTE pages. So that's one of the things we're going to work on this year is actually having the Ag and Tech Ed department have a link that talks about some of the great things they're doing, as well as health science, and then the family and consumer science as well. It links to the course book. We need to have, so they can see what courses link to that. So this is the course book and handbook. So that's the link there with, and just a couple things to show you. this is kind of the list of why we pick classes and how you go about it. And then this piece here is the piece that, is broken down by career cluster. So we've taken the 16 career clusters and we talk about those in 11th and 8th grade, quite a bit. And I've taken and looked at the course book and I've thrown in all the elective classes or something that's basically right on related, like anatomy and physiology would be needed in health science. And listed those for students, so they can see when they're making their 4-year plans, if I'm going into health science, I need to have these classes, or if I'm going into manufacturing, I should be taking these classes. So that's kind of the important piece out of here, otherwise the rest of it's just a basic course description book. Then this gets to the K-12 academic and career planning. So these are the pieces that are a part of that, and then you click on the link, it takes you then to more specifics. How do we do parent engagement? How do we do business and community partnerships? How do we do post-secondary partnerships? And then the one up here is kind of our scope and sequence of what we do for academic and career planning. One of the goals, and I'll go back to that first page, is to work on this piece over the next 1 to 3 years. We hit it hard in 8th grade, we hit it hard in 11th grade, and then I'm with students and John's gonna be adding some student interaction with career goals and 4-year planning in 9th and 10th grade. And then also senior year, but we really need to start looking at what we are doing grade level by grade level in the K-7 world. So John is already on board. I think we're gonna be looking at him kind of going to 6th and 7th grade. But that we need to be looking at what are we doing in 1st grade to introduce, what are we doing in 2nd grade, and so that conversation goes on from K through 12th grade. So this is the current list of what and where we do things. You'll notice much heavier in 6, 8, and 9, 12, as you look through all of the activities there. And then this gets us to those short-term and long-term goals. So we want to establish a K-7 ACP planning lessons and activities, reestablish individual AC planning conferences. So a lot of these say reestablish because we did them prior to COVID. COVID hit and a lot of this had to go away. And so it's taking us a while to, get kind of the manpower to have enough people with John here now full-time and everything that will give us more people to do, for example, reestablishing individual ACP planning conferences so we can invite parents and students together to have the conversation around, this is my 4-year plan, this is what I want to do when I graduate, how do we get there, how can I help as a parent, or how, what type of conversation. Reestablish job shadows in 11th and 12th grade. We were requiring before COVID that they do at least one job shadow before they graduate. So we want to bring that back, and then the CTE advisory board meetings, and that really has come almost with the new hires we've had with Mr. Seichter and Mr. Christian. That's kind of coming back naturally, but we would like to see that we're making sure we're utilizing advisory boards at all of the CTE areas. Increase the business and industry engagement in classrooms for students, and then PD for teachers, getting teachers out or giving them PD on how they can help in classrooms connect what they're doing to careers. And then create the individual CTE department web pages that I mentioned before, and those will be links then in the plan. And then the long term, these are more general, broad things that anything that we put as short term to fit on for the goal. So the process started in 24 as far as adopting it by school boards. And so, like I said, this would be something then that gives us the summer to put together, bring to you in September for the following school year. I don't know if you have any questions.
And then it does need to be board approved, correct?
Yes, yeah, board approved
Once a year.
once a year. So we just make it this time at each year in September. Like I said, that gives us the summer to work on, because sometimes the end of the school year comes and it's crazy and we don't have time to really reflect on what needs to be changed.
And then there is gonna be time built in, once a month, we have collaborative work time built in for our middle school, high school teachers. So this will be some of the work that the CTE department will be doing during that time. Yes, making sure that we're sticking with our plan, meeting our goals.
And then a big piece I'll just mention here while we're here. These are the links that I have for my class that I use. The 8th and 11th grade use this a lot, college and career. This is where we get to Zello. This is the actual student portfolio where they house all this. We're just doing right now in 8th and 11th grade. Career matchmaker, they do an interest inventory, they do a learning style inventory, a personality style, and then that sort of prescribes careers for them, and then we do a project around those. And then at the end of each semester, or at the end of first semester, the 8th grade and 11th grade are really ready to make a 4-year plan in 8th grade and adjust their 4-year plan in 11th grade and get ready for making sure they have what they need for senior year. But there's a lot of other websites that we use in class, or they're just resources for students. Inspire Wisconsin was mentioned before, but that's a link there that I've been working with the kids to say, hey, if you want to go, like there's the Dodge County Highway Department tour. They're doing something there to show off the careers that are involved there. So there's an open house there. So we talked about how you sign up for that, how you let somebody know you're interested, and so on. So those are all there. And then for students that want, more information on how to prepare for the ACT, lots of practice sites and all that's here. And this is what we'll show the juniors before they take it. And then there's this financial planning, there's some resources about FAFSA, job search, military, scheduling and course selection, scholarships in general, and then like what do they need to do to get a transcript, so that if somebody does a search outside of school, also it will take them to that transcript request, and they can request the transcript from me and but that's what that is. So that's that other piece that's under there besides the PI 26.
Do we have any questions? I would just say, but didn't seem like documentation exercise, it seemed very real, very tangible, so I appreciate everything you're doing to make it.
The website helps. Otherwise, it's not really useful to have a document that sits on a shelf. So this is a good way. And then the next person that would happen to be the one that has to update it, it's there for them. They just go in and maneuver the website a little bit.
All right, well, if no further questions, then I will take a motion to approve the PI 26.
I'll make a motion to approve the PI 26 CTE plan for the 2024-2025 school year.
We have a motion by Nate, or a second. And a second by Guy. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right, well, then we will move on to the principal report, and I believe, oh no, sorry, principal goal section 71.
The first page is just a look at.
We're gonna be here all night long. I just kidding.
That's like 65 minutes.
Yeah, the front page is just the mission, vision, and belief statements off of our website. Those are the guiding principles for everything we do. So they are literally just there as a reference, because we do use those as we are looking at our goals.
So if you look at 2023, 2024, this is kind of an overview of 3 of our goals, and then kind of what we did and then what that looks like going forward. So in goal number 1, we looked at our vertical alignment. So really taking a lot of time to make sure elementary, middle school to high school, that our curriculum is aligning and we don't have gaps in our curriculum. Obviously, that's ongoing work, but I think we have a good start in that. Coming out of that work, one of the things that we talked with Jay and I worked on last year with Mrs. Cutzel was curriculum review cycles. I also think that's gonna help with this work going forward. We're gonna continue refining our ladders, our curriculum maps. We continue, that's ongoing work. It's really never done. You gotta make sure that what kids in kindergarten are learning all the way through 12th grade aligns. So that was goal number one. We didn't look at that. Goal number two, collaboratively working, to increase positive staff culture K-12. I think you'll hear my principal report that we've had a really great start to our year. I think this work that we did last school year is a huge contributor to what I saw to the start of our year this year. Our staff last year had accountability partners with their goals, so that's somebody outside of your bubble that you talk to who about the goal you have as an instructor. And so that we really wanted to get people kind of out of their little zones. And maybe a middle elementary teacher talking to a high school teacher about their goals as an elementary teacher and how that correlates to that high school teacher and their goals. That's also building that teamwork, that understanding of one another, what we do. So it's not, they're high school, they don't understand elementary, they're elementary, they don't understand high school. I think you've done a lot of good work around that. I saw last year, elementary kids partnering with high school kids. We have a mentor program now that's really started to build. We have a lot more kids wanting mentors this year. So I think all that work is contributed to all these pieces. So that's been exciting to see. Goal number 3 is building the capacity of the staff to be active participants in the professional growth process. We revised our EE educator effectiveness plan to make it a little bit more tangible.
It's our staff evaluation process, basically.
So the pieces they have to do to show us that they're growing. And we try to take out some of the fluff, the hoops and just this, and made it more tangible to them. One of the things I know they started doing last year was, doing a self-recorded lesson and then watching that back to themselves, because it's nothing that people love to do more than watching themselves back teaching. Not really, but you pick up on things. I've done it as an instructor before. So I think staff learned a lot from that. They didn't have to share that with me. It's not something I sat down and watched with them. It's more for themselves to reflect on their own practice. I thought that was a really good piece that we added last year. We're continuing to tweak that EE plan just to make sure that we're not just putting silly hoops in and not having fluff, and actually just make it something that's a little bit more meaningful for them.
One of the other things, because it's not a part of our goal that we did add, for this year was I tried out some peer observations last year with our 6-12 staff. And I went in and covered classes and made sure that everybody, just kind of giving them the time to do that. And it was amazing, positive feedback to the point where they were saying, I'm gonna be able to do this again next year. Even Melissa Litherland said before I had given them their document, can we make that a part of our process? I'm like, yes, we're doing that, because they just got so much out of just being able to see other people, and how they work the room, do the management, do, any part of it that they really appreciated it. So we put that into. Okay. All right, so, from there, then we have our 24-25 district goals. How we got here, Ryan and I helped to establish together an advisory committee of our staff. So we started with them to get feedback about how everything was going. We did a SWOT analysis of student data. I mean, any type of data you can possibly imagine, the building structure and setup, just overall culture. I think there was 7 or 8 different stations that they went to. And then from there, Ryan and I took that information from our staff advisory, and we met on our own and collaborated. We met with Kendra Hayden and collaborated. We talked a lot with CISA Sarah and CISA Kelly to just kind of help us make sure that we're on the right track, establishing things that are going to continue to help us grow. So we established our goals, brought them back to advisory in May, and we've been working all summer to just kind of get all of this in place. And I kind of laughed when Ryan was talking about curriculum, because you'll see our first goal again is around curriculum. When we brought this to staff at the beginning of the year during in-service, we had the Never Ending Story theme song, for those of you that are my age or older. playing in the NPR for them so that they could realize that there's really never a done point. Like we are constantly looking for gaps, focusing on that vertical alignment and always working to try to help ourselves to get better. Our second goal is again around culture. However, for this year, we want to look specifically at student culture. So last year we did a huge focus and push to try to improve our staff culture. I think we made huge gains. It was fun to watch that process from the beginning of the year to the end. And so this year we really want to focus on student culture and how can we continue to help all of our students and reaching all of them where they're at to make sure that we're giving a safe and positive environment for all of our students. And then our third goal is around family and community engagement. How can we increase and get more parents involved in their children's education? How can we utilize some of our community organizations to help us achieve all of our goals? I brought up Inspire Wisconsin when Jessica was talking. That is an outside organization that is really helping us kind of narrow and bring back some of those things Amy was talking about pre-COVID with mock interviews and job shadows and job opportunities, just things out there. We also are working with Prairie Ridge for mental health. They're specifically coming in and talking with our staff. We focused a lot at the beginning of the year of how do we make sure that we're regulated as the adults in the classroom. Because one of the things we keep saying over and over is that dysregulated adults cannot regulate a dysregulated child. So just making sure that we're taking care of our people and utilizing those resources. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. We're going to continue to try to grow and be the best Fall River that we can be.
Thank you for those. Good on you folks.
No.
All right, well then we will move on to principal.
All right, so my report this month is pulling up, sorry. All right, so a couple things I wanted to thank the new staff. We brought in I actually think we brought in really stellar staff this year. Lots of experience, that they have hit the ground running and have brought their ideas forward. So I want to thank our new ed teacher, replacing Mrs. Cutler, Jamie Edmondson, done a phenomenal job. Abby Howland, I want to thank, our special ed, middle school special ed teacher. I think we've both been super impressed with her. She's asking great questions. Yesterday she was asking what specific pieces need to be in all of the IEPs for her. So that was, right on. You need to ask that. You need to have all that paperwork documented the right way. So that was a great, question for her to ask me. And then Abigail at Level, she's come in as aide at the elementary level, working with the 4K kindergartners. We have a 1-to-1 4K student she works with. Has a lot of great experience that she has brought to us, working at the daycare. And I think she's jumped right in and really been impressive so far. I'm thankful to get those people, and some of those people like Abby were towards the end of the summer and short notice, so that's been nice to get some of those people in there. I want to thank again this month, Systems Furniture Installation, SFI, for the donations they made. They ended up donating a couple $1,000s worth of materials to staff. The first day of school back here, staff were extremely happy, getting some of the free stuff that we had in the NPR for them, whether it was staplers, paper clips, 3-hole punches, chairs, you name it, Post-it notes. This list is not exhaustive of what they gave us, but I wanted to give you kind of, there are 50+ staplers, there are 50+ 3-hole punches, there were huge amounts, boxes and boxes of overall office supplies that we will not have to purchase.
I'm pretty sure we have lifetime supply.
Lifetime
Of all,
supplies,
yes, staples and paper clips for sure.
With favorite clips, sure.
Yeah.
She's like, where's that stuff go? I need some scissors.
And people do go over to the bus barn and they're getting what they need, and that's nice. I counted 32 whiteboards on wheels that are being used in you'll see them throughout the building, 15+ standing desks. that are, you know, Mr. Anderson has made it so you hit a button and go up and down. He was very excited about that. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
At open house.
20 large whiteboards, 30+ small whiteboards, 100+ chairs. Everybody got a new office chair if they wanted it. Lounge furniture, kitchen carts, there was a double steamer, for the kitchen that was donated. Large kitchen aid stand mixer for FCS, 10+ large pork boards. Classroom tables, safety supplies, vests. Dry erase clear whiteboard. This list obviously is not exhaustive, but we have plenty of stuff and a lot of stuff. I know those, whiteboards on the wheels were a big hit, where
Everyone was fighting.
they're fighting over that one, so we had to do some.
Well, I wanted to order them last year for my middle school teachers, because they brought, I think it was Lauren Severson was like, you've got to look at this awesome thing. So I tried to order them and they were so expensive. I'm like, and Brian's like, I'll see if I can try to make some for you. And then we found them and, oh, that was the day I got hurt.
Yeah.
And,
It was,
and so we walked in and I told him, I'm like, I'm calling dibs on those boards for my middle school teachers, whatever is left, everyone else can have. And they were actually kind of feisty about it.
they were feisty about it,
They're
everybody wanted
so
them.
great.
And Mr. Anderson did say he could probably make some more
Yes,
whiteboards
he
that we
did.
have. So that's good. So just, I think that donation helped our school district immensely. It would have cost us a bunch of money to buy all this stuff, so that's been great. Like I said during my earlier report, I've been a principal, I'm going into my 14th year of being a principal. In my full 13 years of being a principal, I have not had as smooth of a day starting the school year, start the first day, or the first day of that first week coming back, my whole entire principal career. I think again, as I reflect on our goals briefs, I think a lot of that is because the work we did last year. But it just ran smoothly. There was no major hiccups. I walked through the kindergarten wing and nobody was crying. That's unheard of. That's where they cry. But I also think,
Yeah, I was just
well, I
gonna
didn't
say.
say that
sometimes in my
the teachers maybe, yeah, but I think that goes to what we do in the summer school too. We're bringing them in, we're getting them exposed, so it's not a new thing to them once the first day of school is. So I just think overall it was a really great start for school. Last thing I have is on Monday, the Delta Dental Dream Flight, say that 10 times, bus stopped again. It was essentially a giant tour bus that was parked out front here. And we brought 4 groups of 5th graders through the bus. And what they are teaching the kids is about aeronautics and as a space focus, and to get kids interested in STEM pieces that we're starting off with more and more here. And so I think that was a great opportunity for our 5th graders. It was free, which Mr. Bird loves. And I think,
Yeah.
They were at the state school board convention. That's where I got on them.
and Delta Dental is the one who's their major sponsor. And they're out of Wausau. I think, we obviously didn't have to pay anything because we have that. So the kids really enjoyed it. I thought, I want to thank Krista Ikeda, our school counselor. She took 3 or 4 of the groups through the bus. I took 1.5 of the groups through the bus. It was really quite cool for the kids. They really enjoyed it. So thank you for bringing that 5th graders. Yep. They have a limit of what they can take in there. So. Yeah. That's my report. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. You're welcome.
Just to kind of ditto what you said, first, I really want to thank Whitney Wagner and all of our mentors for our new teachers. They put a lot of time and energy into front loading our new teachers to make sure that we do have that great start, that the teachers know what they're doing, that they're making relationships, they understand kind of how we do things here in Fall River. And I've been in the classrooms, nothing but positive comments all the way around from our new hires. Even, I don't know if you were gonna mention it, Kim Sears sent an email to Dennis and I regarding our middle school teachers. No, it was Michaela and Abby, both in our middle school, because she's been working in the middle school. Just it's like a brand new culture down there. They're doing a phenomenal job, and I'm super proud to have them on our team. With that first week of school, again, it's one thing, the first week with in-service is great, right? It's awesome, but man, that first week when the kids come back, the energy is just amazing. And I also want to thank Amy, for making sure, especially at the middle school, high school level, that our student schedules were set and ready to go. I threw her for a couple loops, with our middle school schedule, to the point where I said, Amy, I'm supposed to tell you what I want and you're gonna make it happen. And you know what? She did. Like, we made it happen. We're still ironing out some kinks here and there. But my goal is always to do whatever is best for our kids. And I do think that those changes, even though, you know, change is hard and it's a lot, but I do think that, once we get rolling here and continue to roll, it's gonna continue to be good. I wanted to share with you just my 3 goals that I have for myself, this year, as principal. Oh, sorry, I made. You don't get. You don't need to know. The first goal, is a personal one for me. I've taken these first 2 years and really last year, I guess a little bit of this was my goal, to get my feet under me with our students 612, my direct staff 612, and this year, it started, I would say, a little bit last year too, though, but this year I really want to focus on how can I expand my collegiality, getting to know everybody, how the systems work into that K-12. So that is my first goal, is to just kind of build those connections and to make sure that I understand how everything is flowing and working 612. My second goal then is to really work on reducing student absenteeism. The best work that we can do is for students when they're in our building. So just trying to get them in. I talked a little bit last month, so I won't beat the dead horse, but I did meet today with our municipal judge and with Chief Ron for about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, just trying to, again, build those community partnerships and how can we help each other to make sure we're doing what's best for our kids. And so my goal is really how reducing that absenteeism and getting our students here in the building. And then my last goal is similar to what my goal was last year, is just making sure that I'm being intentional with my time while our students and staff are in the building. Making sure that I'm out in the halls, in the classrooms. I've been able to spend a lot of time in classrooms already, and just increasing my visibility outside in the school. So those are my 3 goals, just to share with you for what I had. Last year, my goals were very similar: to get into classrooms as often as possible, being intentional with my time, and then continuing to support the success of our Grading for Learning. I would say that those 3 goals were a success, but there's always room to grow. So I'm going to continue to build on those and just know that those are in the back of my mind. And then last, I did have on Monday the opportunity to attend a Secret Service training on utilizing threat assessments, a threat assessment model to try to prevent targeted violence with schools. It was put on in Columbia County. There were several administrators from around the area, as well as law enforcement officials. Chief Ron was there, Rio was there, Cambria was there, Portage, Poynette, lot of different districts. I think Lodi. I was just trying to think of who else would have been there at the earlier summer training that we would have gone to. Yeah, so it was a full house, and they had a Secret Service agent coming out and just talking with us about many of those things, a lot of the research that they've done, but also many of the things they don't want to share out on in the media or online, just to make sure stuff that we should be looking for, protocols that we can put into place. So I was telling Ryan and Dennis, it reinforced for me the positive of we're doing a lot of things right here in Fall River. And so we really are doing, I would argue, the best that we can, working with unpredictable adolescents and humans. And so we're doing a great job. And that's what I have for you.
I also have goals to jump on after you're done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I split mine. So
Okay.
that we may hear sprays. So I'll give you my goals quickly if you don't mind, as a continuation of my report. So my first goal is to continue to grow our tier 2 academic behavioral strategies working with CC Sarah and CC Kelly. Jenny and I met with the team over the summer and then also this fall, to kind of review our interventions for our TI and our process for our TI. We're gonna continue that work to continue to build it. So it's really established. I think we've done a very good job establishing that elementary wise, but also getting that K-12. And utilizing our resources best, so we're doing that K-12. Now my second goal is to another addition from last year, or goal from last year's goal, provide staff necessary professional development on the curriculum I have purchases for this school year. So that includes, we've updated our Envision Math series this school year. We've had 2 sessions of professional development on that already, with more coming after we use it for about 5-6 weeks. And then we've also recently purchased Spring Math, Reading Mastery in Wilson. 2 of those were purchased over this past summer. So Lisa Roach and myself have worked with our middle school and high school staff on the Wilson, and then I'll be working with the elementary on the Reading Mastery implementation. So that curriculum is being used appropriately to provide interventions for our special ed students, and we'll continue with the math at the elementary. My third goal is to continue to grow overall in school fiscal management, and determine if that's an area that I can continue to grow and best support the district going forward. Working with Mr. Berg. And then my fourth goal is to work on implementing Act 20 requirements. Act 20 is that piece I've talked to you a couple times about. We have dug into that a little bit more as we've learned more throughout the summer and this fall. There's updates typically weekly on Act 20 of what the state decides. So we've been responsive to that. It's a screener that we're gonna be required to use starting this winter, and then again required in the fall for grades K-3 in the area of reading. We have decided that we are gonna create a screening team that will include Lisa Roach, myself, Jenna Hunter, and Kendra Hayden, thank you. And we are gonna screen the students, and the classroom teachers, they'll still screen about 5 of their students of their choice, so they know how to do it, but we're gonna take the majority of that work so that we aren't, 1, getting subs for the entire day to screen students, and 2, we can knock that screener out, get it done. Because the screener is just that, it's quick, it's a 5-minute screener for our students to see how they've been reading. And then iReady, which all the students have used before, that'll dig deeper into the diagnostic of, okay, does that match what we're seeing in the screener? And then dig deeper of, okay, what is the specific areas of within the reading where they still need more support? So that Act 20 piece will be handled, taken care of, we have a plan for that. I think with the help of Lisa Roach, Jenna Hunter, Kendra Hayden, we're in a really good spot. And also in Liebenthal, for getting our students rostered, their staff rostered, so thank you, Amy. Any questions on my goals? All right, thank you.
Real quick, go back, so any noise on cell phone policy?
Yes, we just talked about it today. So Ken had sent me an email checking in last week, and I checked in with my middle school teachers and a couple of high school teachers, and it is going really well. And then tonight, we had our staff meeting, our student intervention meeting, and I just said, I'm like, well, since I have all of you here, like, how is it going? And everybody was like, oh my gosh, it's going so great. Like, I mean, obviously, it's not a perfect utopia. I think we've had 2 students already who are trying to push boundaries, but that's to be expected. So I think as long as we all continue to be consistent and we are following through with our protocols that we have set up, I think it's going to continue to go well.
All right, Mr. Burke.
And we've been reflecting a lot as you guys sit here tonight talking, all things we've heard and shared. When I came to the district, I knew there's some things we wanted to be better at. And one of the things was culture, make this place where kids wanted to be and where adults want to be, whether it's staff or the others. But you can hear the things they're talking about is the try to change the culture of the kids, the culture of the adults. And part of the adults is trying to keep people here and not have a lot of turnover, because we do lose some, I mean, people leave every year, and even the ones left this year, gee, those are good people. How are we gonna replace them? And then we find more good people. It's really pretty, I feel kind of blessed that we're finding the quality of staff we are. You lose somebody good and we find somebody good. I'm just really, really thrilled about that. And when I think about replacing, we're also trying in a small school, sometimes teacher A leaves and no one knows what teacher A was doing. And now the teacher comes in to replace them and doesn't know where to start. Well, a lot of things are talked about. Amy talked about with her CT plan and what these guys are working with staff is, no, we'll have, if teacher A leaves, we have what they were doing. So we now, someone comes in, if they're a rookie, we know what the plans look like, we know what the curriculum look like, so there's much more continuity. So it's not just reinventing the wheel every time a new teacher comes in, so that helps with our continuity. And one of the things that I really wanted to get better at, and I was on a legal webinar with Morgan and Clark, our lawyers, last week, about employee evaluation and discipline. And they talked about the evaluation process. I'm really happy with how we've gotten moving forward with the evaluation process. And then I brought in, of course, the two principals and all the department heads who supervise others, that evaluate other people, and then maybe have to discipline others. We spent a lot of time talking about how that discipline might work, how it's coaching originally, trying to coach people up, and then what the process might be if there has to be discipline, and how we, the documentation of that, trying to be consistent in how we all do it the same way, so that it's fair to the employee, but also we have it documented. It's the same kind of thing for consistency. Then if principal A leaves and someone comes in new, that person who's maybe been having issues doesn't get to start all over again. They take off at the same point they were. So I hopefully that was helpful to these two and the others that we had in there, because we have other people that are department heads that supervise and directing other people. So trying to get that consistent through the whole school district. Then the roadshow for the referendum. We meet weekly with the Findorf and PR Architects people to try to make sure we're on the right track, helping us with producing stuff. And Ryan Zeichter and those guys have been instrumental in helping produce things that are out there. And then Greg for stuff is starting doing more and more on social media and our website. And Andrew's been putting stuff on the website. They I had a friend from Deerfield. She said, we're going to referendum and trying to copy something, but other districts are doing it. Fall River is one of the few who's got a really well-developed website already. So I can go and try to do what they're doing, because she didn't want to just start over and reinvent the wheel. So the stuff we have on our website, other people are looking at and saying, we want to get some of that stuff on there too. And we try to put a number of things about reassessment on there, and to give people a resource if they want to look to see what it's about. Give them an idea how that may affect their taxes. We've already had meetings with the staff. We met with the community on the annual meeting night. We've met with the town of Otsego board. We've met with the Fall River Council, their board. And the next ones we think will be Tuesday, October 1st with the Fall River Chamber of Commerce. They are a little back and forth on what their actual dates are, but I think October 1st, I'll be meeting with them at Savannah Oaks. Next night, Wednesday, the 2nd, is a community engagement session here at 7 o'clock. Town of Calamus, I haven't got a hold of them yet, but they're probably the next Tuesday, the 9th. Town of Fountain Prairie, they have me on their agenda on Wednesday, October 16th. That'll be an interesting one. And by that date, we should have a lot more information about equalized value and maybe some more numbers that will help explain how things are going. And then during parent teacher conferences, Thursday, October 24th, we've got one at 12 o'clock and one at 5 o'clock. So parents are coming from conferences. I'm hoping they might just stop in at noon and maybe stop in at 5 with different groups of people who are coming to give them one last shot before we get to the November 5th election. So a lot of stuff we're trying to get out there. You guys got anything you want to add to stuff that's going out for the referendum?
I had a conversation today with a staff member who said, there's obviously some assessment concern in one of the areas of Fountain Prairie, and encouraging those community members to come to one of our open sessions so that can be talked about and so that they fully understand what that impact would mean towards the referendum. So anytime we can encourage them to come in, I think that'd be good.
Good, thank you.
They're meeting tonight, yeah.
Town of Fountain Prairie,
You would probably get Yeah.
Is it open book tonight?
No, well, they're scheduling open book, but no, it's just a regular meeting.
Oh, okay.
There'll be people there.
I'm sure there will be. And it's, for us, it's fortunate, they're Wednesday, the 16th is third Wednesday of the month, and we are moving to the fourth Wednesday of the month. So it allows me to go to theirs the third Wednesday, and we'll have ours the following Wednesday. So we're just trying to make sure we can tell our story. That's all we can do.
I think it's kind of been cool too, it's the kid we got and they think we're getting ready to produce the sign for the district, the PR sign for the district, putting out and stuff. And then obviously we're doing something for the, the community and stuff, and the conversations the kids are at least having. And we talked about how, yes, you're not voting this election, but in future elections, you guys are gonna have to have conversations and important to know the facts and to go to these sites, so. I think it's a good thing that kids are starting to look at this stuff and talk about it. Make some good citizens hopefully in the future.
Cool.
All right, any questions for? Cliff? All right. Minutes, I will take a motion to adjourn. Second motion to adjourn. Motion by Nate, like second, second by Ken, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed.
Thanks, Ken.
What do you say?